Welcome to the Nourish and Restore podcast with me, Nina, and my awesome friend, Nicole, where we bring all things nourishing and restorative to you, your body, mind, and soul. A chance for you to enjoy simple tools to help you live a happier, healthier, and more peaceful life. Join us in conversation as we explore our interesting theme for today. There we go. Good morning, Nicole. How are you?
I'm super good. Thank you, Nina. How are you doing down south?
South, all good.
Down
All
south.
good. I'm so excited that we get to chat again with our little Nourish and Restore podcast. This month is all going to be about how to navigate a healing crisis. So I just wanted, before we go into that, I just wanted to check in with you how your past month has been, because it's also been about like understanding the body. How has that gone for you with sharing all your wisdom with everyone?
Thank you. Thank you. It's been really great. It's been awesome. I think also for us in the Northern Hemisphere, it's been that really perfect time to take that break, after that summer. July, August is always very manic because, everybody's out enjoying the sun and traveling all over the place. And often we lose connection there, when we're constantly on the go and not really listening to anything our body's trying to tell us because we're trying to get as much in as possible. October's been fantastic in the sense of really taking advantage of that time to just let people know, that the aches and pains that we are experiencing, that there's a meaning to those, and they don't just appear for us to cement them over, but for us to inquire into and possibly assist us into healing, So I think it moves beautifully on towards the topic that you're going to be discussing this month, which I'm very, very excited about.
And I think that's so beautiful. It's kind of like when something occurs in the body, like you're saying, not just to cement it over with whatever it is, pills, numbing tools, alcohol, food. I mean, we do a variety of things. We often do many things, not just one. I think when we slowly, like in your month of October now, where we slowly start to listen and understand the body and just take a moment, take a step back and hear what it's trying to tell us, that when we then are ready to actually cognitively go into like a healing crisis and say, okay, I'm ready to heal the body, that we're doing it with awareness. And I think that's where like a lot of disease happens in us humans, in the sense that we often just try and block or box things off. Like we think like there's a physical problem with our body and we want to try and solve it physically, maybe with like the food that we eat and the exercises that we do and the physio or the Pilates or the yoga practices we do. And then we forget that actually there's usually like a mental and emotional connection to it as well. And we can't just look physically, we got to look at that as well. And then like one level deeper, in a sense, is like there's also a connection to like the soul and the spirit level. So if you're not fully connected to your purpose in life or your desire in life or what you have, there's always going to be like an imbalance there. So I'm really looking forward to exploring that, like where do we start? Because there's so much out there. And when we get sick, if it is like from stubbing your toe or having, like I just had the other day, a shelf fall on my toe, to something that's more maybe regular, like PMS symptoms, headaches, migraines, to something like often is called like a scary diagnosis if it comes on like with your cancer or an autoimmune disease, or all of a sudden your doctor's told you that you have, something crazy going on with you. Like how do we take a pause, and how do we start to navigate this where we're not just looking at the physical, but we're actually engaging the mental and emotional and then the spiritual aspect to our being? So that's pretty much where we're going to be going this month of November.
I think that's a beautiful follow-up from October's theme, because it's just once again moving a little bit deeper into the sessions. And it's so true, you know, for me, and as I explained in our last month's series, is that our symptoms are only an outcry for our body to let us know that there's something wrong. You know, the physicality of it. We only feel it because that's the most earthed possession that we have, is our body. So once it gets to there, and once we can feel it there, or we've been diagnosed with something, that really is kind of like the end result. It's kind of like, okay, change needs to happen. Look into this. What could it be? Etc. 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 Yeah. So great.
Yeah. And what often comes up is kind of like that having a disease or going through a healing crisis brings up like this idea of cost. Like, it's going to cost to go to a doctor, meds, you know, if it is supplementing with supplements, or if it's going to alternative practitioners. Like, there's big costs involved in healing. And often what we don't do or don't realize, which I think you see in your practice as well a lot of times, is that before we needing like a serious healing crisis, like, what investment can we make, time-wise or money-wise, in ourselves, so that it doesn't lead to that, so that it doesn't lead to a big, scary diagnosis. I mean, I know before we've been chatting about inflammation, where we were chatting about like chronic inflammation and silent inflammation. And like that is a part of a lot of our, you know, lives and lifestyles. And how do we navigate life so that we're addressing those, but we're still able to have fun and enjoy what it is we're doing and where we're at in our life. So I think the idea of kind of like the cost of being sick, and actually the investment that we need to make in ourselves, like you were saying, you know, last month with your understanding the body, it just means that we take a little bit of time and we listen, and we're not running to someone else to tell us what the story is, but we're actually starting to intuitively hear and see and feel where there's an imbalance, and then we can slowly address it in the right way. So yeah, so I'll also be chatting about like what doesn't work, what does work, what I found doesn't work, you know, and what really does work. So we'll be definitely going into all of that this month. I'll start next week with like kind of like tips. It'll be all on tips on how to navigate yourself in a healing crisis. I'll do a little bit of, the next week will be a yoga practice, then we'll do a breathing practice and a journaling practice. So we'll have this recording, this one, and then 4 more for the month of November. So that's pretty much, I think, where I'm at with where we're going this month. Nicole, what else have you got on your mind?
Yeah, I think it's super exciting, and I think it's super exciting to give our listeners a chance to really take this opportunity to learn about themselves, you know, and to really take their life back into your own hands. It's so empowering when you wake up in the morning. Like, for instance, with me, like I was telling you earlier on, I always find that when I go through not so much a healing crisis, but when energy starts shifting in my body and when I start to up level to the next phase, I feel it in my physical body. And like this morning when I was about to get up at just before 7, I could just feel my body was aching. It still needed at least half an hour's rest. And I mean, bless that I do have that opportunity to be able to say, okay, no, you know what? I'm going to stay in bed for another half an hour. Even if I just read, my body obviously just needs that half an hour. And I did. And I got up afterwards and I felt great. I didn't have any aches, any pains. And I think that is the difference. You know, if we had to just jump out of bed with that painful body, then continue into the day. So the day already started with aches and pains. Then I'm rushing into the office, or the kids are irritating me over breakfast. Then I'm getting into the office. Then a colleague says something to me, and the whole day just turns into a huge chaos. And then I come home, and it's so interesting because it's so ingrained in every single person I feel, is that I'm just going to come home and I'm going to have a drink. I can't wait to have that drink so that I can just relax, or that cigarette, or whatever it is. And does that really do that? I mean, maybe, yes, the first drink will maybe let you go, okay, but yes, it's that. So being able to stop yourself in the tracks before that whole day just unravels.
Yeah. And kind of like also, Nicole, like what I'm hearing is that you've actually architected your life so that you've got the possibility to have that half an hour in the mornings if your body requires it. We forget that we do have choices. Often we don't think that we do, but we do. We can come home and, like you say, we can go straight to the fridge and open the bottle of wine and have a glass of wine, or we can take ourselves to our yoga mat, go lie down and breathe for 5 minutes, and then we can mindfully choose, do I want to make myself a cup of tea, or do I want to go and have that glass of wine? But it's kind of like when we have these habits that are just so automated, like this is how we do and this is how we operate, and we don't actually take a step back and think about it, and think of other choices that we can make, we're constantly just going to be coming up against the same diseases, illnesses, struggles. Whereas if we take just like a small little change, and it doesn't need to be a big one, coming home, lying on your mat for 5 minutes might be all that you need. And that might just be enough to shift your decision-making power to making a better choice for you for that night. So
absolutely, I agree with you 100%. And even if it is that glass of wine that you choose, because wine can taste delicious and can be really good, then you're doing it with a conscious choice, and not to run away from the day that you've had. Yeah, beautiful example. So looking forward to all the more tips and tricks that you've got up your sleeve for this month, Nina.
Yeah. And I'm going to just say, it's going to be one of these months where I think it's going to be a good one to bookmark and to have. So like when you do have that healing crisis, like when you do have that menstrual pain, or when you do like knock your toe or your knee, you can go to the saved one and you can be like, okay, I just need to listen to that meditation, or I just need to do that yoga class. It worked for me. Or I just need to be reminded of this conversation that Nicole and Nina had to remind me that I'm not the only one going through something like this, and that I can make better choices. So I think it's going to be a great one to join in, but also then to save. So when like we say, shit hits the fan, you've got a plan, you've got something that you can pull out your back.
Got a tool you can use. Yeah, absolutely. That's great.
All right, my friend, that's pretty much it from me.
Perfect. So click in, log in, listen in, watch.
And
we have many channels for you to choose from.
Exactly. And I'll catch you next week. So from my side, sending you lots and lots of love. Namaste, and have a nourishing day.
Namaste, my friend.
Thank you for listening to our Nourish and Restore podcast today. To find out more about Nourish and Restore, visit our website or Facebook page, nourishandrestore.yoga. For more information on working with me, Nina Sachs, visit www.yogaa.co.za. And to work with my awesome friend Nicole, visit www.lov-me.com. Links will be in the show notes. We look forward to catching up with you next week. Namaste, and have a nourishing